let's just jump right into does everybody know how to get into Blackboard? No. Okay. So you can get into Blackboard through CUNY first. Is there a specific link that you use, Gina?
I always Google Hunter College Blackboard and it comes.
I think that the URL is actually bbhosted.cuny.edu. And then you log in with your CUNY first login. So you're more than welcome while we're doing this. If you want to, you have the Zoom screen smaller. If you have a big enough screen, you can also follow along by opening up your Blackboard course, and you can try things out in there. So the first thing that we want to do is make sure that everybody can get into their Blackboard. Is that clear for everybody, or does anybody have any more questions around that? Okay, good. All right, so Gina, do you want to share your course?
Sure. So I'm going to share my screen on Zoom, and you are all going to tell me if you can see it. Can you see my course? It'll say 2018 fall term, and you can chat me if you can. We're all good?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm going to go nice and slow. So when I started teaching—
Sorry, my yes and no and all those hand things just disappeared. And now everyone's video is where those were.
Yes, probably because we're sharing the screen.
So there's two ways that you can get it back. If you go up to the top where it says view options, you can exit full screen mode, and then they should come back. Or you can keep it in full screen and just click on the participants and chat again, and there'll be floating windows that you can move around.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
So when I first started teaching on Blackboard, my Blackboard 101 was really to use a couple of just main tools. I like to keep online learning, especially if you're doing it at first, really simple, really user-friendly for both myself and the students, and really straightforward. So if this is the first time you're ever using Blackboard in a class, you're gonna wanna keep it simple. You don't wanna overwhelm people. You wanna get really used to the tool. You wanna make it really simple, really, really understandable. So my main tools are always the announcements tab, the course information tab, the course materials tab, and the discussion board. And so if you're a first-time Blackboard user, it's really all about these. So in my announcements tab, Blackboard announcements go right to the student's email, and it's usually their My Hunter email. So you'll notice, especially the first time we utilize the course, I'll have a welcome message. Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're online now. And I'm so thrilled to be working with you all. And then I give them what they need to succeed, right? And I tell them where everything is. So if you are teaching online for the first time, you might want to use a revised syllabus. You might not. That's a choice. But I know the suggestion has been to use a revised syllabus. So I will take the revised syllabus, and as you can see, I always put my revised syllabus under the course information tab. So everything has a place. So I'm just going to scroll back up. You're going to see the course information tab. I'm going to load my syllabi there. And the way you do this is you're just going to build content. You're going to load an item. You're going to put a title. And I always load my syllabus as an attachment, which is that little paperclip option. So my course information box, and I call them boxes or tabs. Kenny, you tell me the right, what do you call it? Storage space. What do you call it?
Which ones?
Like course information. Do you call it a tab?
You can call it a tab or a page, content page. I think
I'm going to
content
call it a
page
tab.
is what Blackboard calls it.
I call it a button.
You call it a button? Okay, yeah. So tab or button. Again, your course information I just utilize for major information. So it's really just like syllabus and any major information. I create videos in my online courses, but don't do that if this is your first time. You can play with it later. So I always have my syllabus and then a course outline. Again, it's really easy to load things. You build content, you load an item, and then usually the item is an attachment. You can explain things about the attachment, blah, blah, blah. I can't spell today because everyone's watching. And then you just submit and it comes on. So again, course information is a nice place to put syllabi and all major course information. My course materials tab is where I store weekly materials. So for an async Blackboard course, I use a Sunday through Saturday week. So I load everything on Sunday. Everyone knows, all students know that they are to receive all whatever they need, the lectures, the readings on Sunday by noon, and they have until Saturday at 11:59 p.m. to submit whatever they submit. I like to give my students kind of a full or partial weekend. So I'll load everything Sunday. Everything they need to submit will be Saturday at 11:59 p.m. That being said, I think any good online instructor is not going to like wait till Saturday to look at student work, right? You're going to like be on Blackboard, and I'm on Blackboard every day, just checking things and responding to students and doing things like that. Online is harder than in class. In class, you come in class, you teach, you go home, you get assignments, you grade them the next week. Online learning does need a little bit more maintenance. And it's great though, because this is how you really get interactive and participatory with your students. So again, course information for syllabi and course materials. I'm loading any readings, I'm loading video links, I'm loading PowerPoints, I'm loading any audio, and you notice I'm organizing it week by week. And so it just provides a really nice organizational structure for students. And I always tell them what to expect under announcements. So if we scroll down to my announcements tab again, right, I send announcements all the time. I send announcements on Sunday when material's first up. I send announcements in the middle of the week just to check on people. And then I'll send announcements on Saturday when everything is due and just a reminder. So you'll notice, again, like I'll tell them, you know, everything they have to do and where it is. So go to the syllabi under the course information tab, print a copy for your records, go to your course materials tab for any lectures, go to your discussion board and post your introduction, anything that they need to know. I'm always a big believer also, especially if this is the first time you're online, in if you are comfortable giving a phone number or an additional contact, that you do that for your students just in case they're confused and they need someone to talk to over the phone regarding where to find things. So you'll notice I always give my phone number out. That you do not have to do that, but I always do it, and I do get calls and texts from students saying, hey, Dr. Riley, I don't understand where this is. Can you tell me, blah, blah, blah. I also, you know, we talk a lot about online presence, and I really strongly believe that your online presence is a presence. It's as strong as your in-class presence, right? I want to like my students to know that I love this. I want them to know that I care. I want them to know that I'm here to support and encourage them. So you want to try to make these announcements really supportive and encouraging, and note that like you're in control, they're in control, everybody's okay, everyone's going to be okay. Right? So give them your email for any questions, but you want to create this really caring, really personable online presence. And I think that's super important, especially if you're doing an async course on Blackboard. So you have your announcements, you have your course information where you're going to load syllabi, and you have your course materials. And again, you're just going to use your course materials tab week by week to load the materials. My students all know that their weekly materials are under the course material tab, and they could just find it by week. And I mean, I load different things. I might load readings. I tend to do PowerPoint and audio lectures. I might load a YouTube video, anything that I really want them to see. I really like a multisensory course, but again, if this is your first time on Blackboard, this is not the time to get multisensory at first, right? That first week. The second, third, fourth week, you can try things and have fun and do things. But that first week, you just want to make sure that everyone's on the same page, that everyone knows where to find everything, and that everyone is okay. So you're going to have the course materials, you're going to have the course information. Then an easy way to create a real good online structure, they get all their materials under course materials, they go through there, and then you provide a discussion question. You will notice that my discussion questions are very, very like multi-tiered. I'm always telling them, like, this is week 2, we're going over chapter 1, there's one main posting and one response posting due by 11:59 p.m. on Saturday, and I give the date. Okay, you'll notice again the multi-tiered aspects of the question. I don't just want to provide them one question that they can fluff. I want to provide them multi-layered questions so they really have to think about things. Okay, and that's really important to me, those multi-layered questions. So creating discussion questions on Blackboard is really simple. You are going to create a forum. You're going to give a title to the forum. Okay, and you're going to tell them when it's due. And then you're going to just put in your question. You're going to make the forum available. I tend not to restrict availability, but if you want, you can restrict availability on Blackboard just to that week. I do a standard view. I put a grade. So sometimes in terms of grade, I will make my discussion questions 5 points. I will usually just like leave everything okay and then submit. And I've got a new discussion forum. Okay, and students know they click on the discussion forum. They've got their question, they know their question, and then they can reply. Okay, and you'll notice that my students really do. When they reply, right? They're really like, they know the deal because I've set the parameters right away. One main posting, one response posting, and my students are really, they discuss, and I am always on there. So you'll notice on a discussion board, I respond to each one of my students' questions. I'm crazy like that. Some professors do not do that, but I feel like it's really important to have a strong student presence. And so I will respond to every single one of my students' postings. It takes a ton of time. It's my whole Sunday, but it's so worth it because then a discussion really ensues and they feel like there's a real instructor presence in the classroom. So that's how, I mean, again, a simple, and I'm just looking on chat, a simple way to do this is, again, use your course information. You know this now, your course information for your syllabi and any course-related rules and structures, your course materials for all your materials organized week by week. Discussion board questions are also organized week by week. And you as the instructor are an online presence in the classroom. So you do, I mean, that's the thing with online learning. You do have to be a presence in that classroom. Sometimes it gets messy when you're not. And so I want my students to know I'm in there. I want to be in there. I want to know what they're talking about. I want to respond to questions. I want to be part of a discussion. But again, you'll notice the questions are multi-tiered. So that's a real easy structure.
Gina, can I ask a question quickly?
Yeah, go for it.
So I've been passing out papers each week. I understand I probably should have been digital, but this is my first class ever, and I'm doing the best I can as an adjunct. I've been told that I can use my iPhone and scan papers, email myself the papers I would like to put on. Does that sound right? That how do I actually get it onto the Blackboard then? It's going to be an attachment of some sort, or
yeah, so it's going to be an attachment. So you can upload JPEGs, you can upload things. I usually make it like a picture, an attachment, a YouTube video. I usually like if it's a JPEG or a PDF file, I'll just upload it using the attachment tab. And students are really receptive to that. I do that in my other courses when they have like tests that they have to give. And so I have like PDFs of all the tests and I'm just attaching them. I would say that if you have multiple PDFs, just put them in one file and label them really carefully.
One thing that I would add is you want to be also very aware of any potential ADA issues that need compliance. So if you have students that require any sort of accommodations, you can contact us at the Frankfort Center. We're happy to help you to process PDFs, for example, so that they're accessible. You know, if you have students that, you know, maybe are colorblind, you know, making things accessible for them as well. So let us know if you have, if there's any issues that you address. Hold on a second. Let me mute. Somebody was unmuted. If there are any issues that need to be addressed, you're not sure how to do it, let us know at the Frankfort Center and we'll help you with that.
Question, yeah. Oh, let me unmute you. Hold on. Okay. Okay, go for it.
Thank you. Someone else was asking in a chat, when you're responding to students and replying, does your text automatically come in as purple or some other, like how do you reply?
Yeah, so I do that. So that's my special Gina thing. So I'll do this. I will sometimes, because I want to get everything, I will sometimes copy and paste their text and then choose a color. So I'll show you how I do this. So sometimes but I like it. It's fun. And also students know I'm actually replying to and reading everything they say. So I copy and paste their text. I go here and I just choose a color and I'm replying. Oh, that didn't work. Let's see. Hold on.
Right.
Okay.
So you have to copy and paste. You can't write into their
Sure you can. You don't have to copy and paste. I just tend to do that because I want my students to know I really read every aspect of their response. But you can absolutely say hey, and you want to be careful though. You want to be really careful not to say, good job, great posting, right? You want to be like, I understand that you are concerned about, and you could just type right in there. So you don't have to use color. I tend to.
But I mean, inside their original post.
No.
The only place you can respond is when you reply in a new box.
Right. So I'm always reply. You can't write within their original post.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm always just replying in a new box.
Got it.
Yeah. Again, I mean, I think the multi-tiered questions are important, and this is an easy way. This is an easy setup, right? Sometimes I'll do different things with Blackboard to make it really super multi-sensory, but an easy setup is the whole course information, course materials, and then the discussion question, and you're responding. That's a really easy Blackboard setup. And again, students really do, They really do like belong within the discussion. And I love that.
Gina, so put your mouse back to under the response, hit quote instead of reply. It creates a reply with all of their text in it automatically.
Yeah.
You don't have to copy and paste.
Okay. I also really love Blackboard because the grade book is super easy. So once you've set up a discussion question, I'll talk about tests and assessments too, Kenny, if we have time. But once we set up a discussion question, again, you know how to do that now because you're going to go on the discussion board and you're going to create a forum and you're going to give a name to a forum and you're going to tell everybody when everything is due and their expectations for that. You're going to create your text of your question here, and then you're going to provide a grade, right? So I love each week is 5 points. So I'll do 5 points here. I'll submit, blah, blah, blah. They're going to ask me for a value. But the nice thing about Blackboard is if you go under course management and you go under the grade center and you go under full grade center, you'll see that all my students, like every post is graded. You'll see how they did. I really love the grade book on Blackboard. So again, you have to go in and you have to submit the grades, but it's really nice. It's really simple. It's really easy and wonderful. So I like that grade book option.
Gina, we have a question.
Yep. Go for it.
For me, oh, thank you.
I'm happy. Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing. Oh, your connection might be a little unsteady.
Amanda, your connection is not working properly. Do you want to type the question in?
Okay, so I'm looking at the chat now. Yeah, you got how to insert comments. The best way to organize the grade book, yeah, and type your question, Amanda, so I can hear. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear because your internet connection is unstable. But in terms of organizing the grade book, if you're using the discussion board, the grade book kind of organizes itself. Okay, that's not your key question. But the gradebook organizes itself. So once you post things, then like once you post a discussion forum and you assign a grade to it, the gradebook will organize itself. So you don't have to organize that, although you can add things to it. So if I go back to my full grade center, I can create a column and I could add things. So for example, I have my students do like a weekly conference. And so I'll add February conference and I'll add a monthly conference. I hate typing when people are watching. You all know this. So I can add it's 5 points. And I'm going to submit. And you're going to see that I just added this February conference because I'm going to scroll and show you. So they have all these assignments, but I just added a February conference. So you can add things to your grade book. There's their February conference as needed, or you can utilize the discussion board. But I really, really like, again, the gradebook is so handy, and you'll notice I do give weekly grades. So everyone knows how they're doing each week. And I'm really, I think that one of the keys to online learning is to be really, really very, very much into feedback. So you really want to be giving students feedback. You really want to be it's really important for them to know that you are online and that you are an active presence in this online classroom. It's just like a regular classroom, right? Like, just like you want them to know that you're there and you're there to support, you also want to be a super active presence in an online classroom. So that's the discussion board. I also use other tools. So if I'll go back, I'll go to the discussion board, I'll go to course information. You will notice there's a tab for assessments. So depending on what the course is like, I might want to give a quiz and I might want to create that quiz. So if you go under Tools, Course Tools, under the Course Management tab, you can go to the element that says Tests, Surveys, and Pools. And so if you're a weekly quiz type person, you can load the test or quiz on Blackboard. And it's super easy to do this. I actually really like loading quizzes and tests on Blackboard. The nice thing is if they're multiple choice or true false, Blackboard self-grades it. So that is definitely a benefit of Blackboard. So you build a test. This can be test number 1. I might give a description of the test. I might give instructions, and I am going to submit. So this is just like quiz number 1, test number 1. Again, here I would like do something in terms of instructions. Then I'm going to create the question. And Blackboard allows you multiple types of questions. I generally will do like multiple answer, multiple choice. Sometimes I'll do a Likert scale. Sometimes I'll do ordering. Sometimes I'll do true false. You can do a short answer too. I've done that before too. Okay. And you create the question. So I'll choose a true false question. Question title is number 1. Question text is this class fun? Right? And I like my answer orientation to be vertical. I'll give them the answer. Of course, it's fun. It's true. You can enter feedback that will respond and display in response to a correct answer. I never generally do that. But if you want your students to have that option, like if they press the wrong thing, then they get like, this is wrong because, right? And then I really just scroll and submit. And then I go along and I create another question. Here's question number 2. So you can like create tests and quizzes on Blackboard, and it's pretty good in that sense. So there is a question, can you do a live session during class time? So Kenny, do you want to go over Collaborate? Because many people are interested in a live session with students.
Yeah, we can go over Collaborate. Just so you know, there will be a whole session just on Collaborate on Tuesday at 2:30, but we can go over some of it now as well. There was also a question, does CUNY allow Google Classroom? Not CUNY-wide, but the School of Education does. So if you're in the School of Education, yes, you can use your huntersoe.org Google account to use Google Classroom or Google Meet. And we'll have sessions on Google Classroom and Google Meet on Monday afternoon.
Can I ask a question? If I can just interject something here. On task management, there's no way you can do an essay answer.
Yeah, you can have an essay response.
Is there a way to do that?
You would have to grade it. So it obviously wouldn't be graded.
Right. Yeah. There's no way around that because a lot of my work is written by students. All right. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you would just have to grade it and review it.
That's very time consuming, as you understand. Okay.
There's no way to get around that. I have my students do essay tests too, depending on the course, and there's no way to get around that.
Unfortunately, that's true.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a quick question for Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been sort of encouraged to use Collaborate Ultra for the rest of the semester. Is there a reason that I should consider doing one of those other two things that you just mentioned that seem like alternatives? I'm planning or hoping to do a live class essentially.
Well, we just have the different options. So Zoom, we only have Zoom accounts available for full-time faculty. So for adjuncts and part-time faculty, Collaborate and Google Meet are the next best options. Some people don't use Blackboard at all. They only use Google Classroom. And so I think for them, Google Meet may be a better option because it's all integrated in the same environment. But if you're using Blackboard, I would recommend using Collaborate. It's actually really easy to use because it's already in Blackboard. You don't have to invite people to it. You just create your sessions and they can just join from within the Blackboard course. And it has most of the same features as Zoom. If you want, I can show you that right now.
That's okay, actually, unless other people would like that. That answers my question. I already use Blackboard for the rest of my course, so it sounds like the rest of my course.
I'm interested to look at Collaborate. I don't use Blackboard. I Slack for collaborating with my students between classes.
Sure.
Please show.
So I'm going to stop the share of my class. There was a question regarding using multiple tools. So in terms of Slack and using Slack, you know, sometimes it's just easier to have things in one place for both students and professors. And so that's why I use Blackboard for everything. But you'll see I also do Zoom live sessions every week to supplement the Blackboard material. But again, that's just my preference. And I've been doing online teaching for quite a bit a while. And so I can like handle the sync and the async mix. But if you're just putting things on Blackboard right now, I would strongly use like the course materials, course instruction, discussion board format for the first time. And then like go and like experiment with different tools. Go for it, Kenny.
Does everybody see my screen? Okay. So the way you access Blackboard Collaborate is down here under Course Tools. So when you come into your course, you'll see all your course materials up here. This is a blank course. There's nobody in it, so I'm not really going to be able to go too deep into this, but so you click on Blackboard Collaborate, and this is what comes up. You can create a new session, give it a title, so say week 3 discussion, set the start date and time. Let's just leave it there. It gives you a guest link that you can invite other people into from outside of Hunter. They don't need a Hunter or CUNY login to get in. You can set it to an open session so that there's no end time, and you can also have it recur. And there's some additional settings here as well to allow recording downloads, anonymizing the chat messages, showing profile pictures only to the moderator. So you can decide which of these options are best for you, and then you save that. And when you're ready to begin, well, I think I have to reset that to now, otherwise we can't get in. So once the start time comes, then you can join the session. I don't know what's going to happen now since I'm already, I'm not going to use the microphone. Let's just.
Sorry, can you slow down? What was it you just did with the microphone and why?
I did it because I'm already using the microphone in Zoom. So I don't want to give the microphone to Collaborate, otherwise you'll no longer hear me. So you would not be doing this.
Okay, but normally we would want the microphone
to share your microphone and your camera with Collaborate. I can't do either because it doesn't allow me to share it with both.
Got it, thanks.
So once you're in here, you have a panel here that's similar to what we have in Zoom, which is there's a chat, there's attendees, there's sharing, you can share your screen. You can also have a whiteboard. So for example, if you wanted people to be able to collaboratively just draw, type in text. So you can do this as a group. Stop sharing that. You can share specific applications. You can share files. There's polling. I'm not sure what the timer is.
You say what polling is? Sorry.
So polling, if you wanted to, have like a multiple choice poll. And then it will pop up for students to respond to.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
If they're sharing files, do those shared files get stored somewhere that people have access to after the session?
That's an excellent question. I don't know the answer to that. I would have to get back to you on that.
Okay. Is it something that during the session people can download from if they want to preserve the content?
Yes.
Okay. So at the very least, we know that they would have to download it during the session.
Correct. And I'm pretty sure in the replay, you'd be able to download them as well. Whether they're actually stored in the course, that I'm not 100% sure of.
Okay.
So, I mean, separate from the Collaborate session. I don't know if, my guess is they're not stored separate from the session, but you can do a session replay.
And the session replay is literally just the whole class is recorded and then people can watch it again later?
Correct. Just like we're recording this session.
Can't you regularly put things on Blackboard and have that available to them?
Yes.
Over time, because that's how I do it. I just keep adding everything I do in the class. I just keep putting it on Blackboard.
Yes.
So it's always there.
For example, if you wanted to put some files here to share in the midst of a session, you can then also add them later into a content area in Blackboard. So it's available outside of the session.
Can you share your screen with the students?
You can. Yeah, so when I go to share, if I share application or screen, it gives me the ability to share my entire screen. I can share an individual application window. So if I don't want to share the whole screen, but I just want to share one window, this might work. Okay. So now I'm sharing this Zoom window here in the Blackboard session.
Okay, great. Thank you.
As an example.
And then this accommodates like as many people. Is there a people limit in the video? Like, do we get the same thing with Zoom where we have like a group discussion with small monitors, or how does that interface?
You will see the videos of participants. When you're, see, I can't share my video right now and there's nobody in the course. So I don't know if I'd be able to show that to you.
A description is fine. It is similar to this though, where you'd have one larger screen of whatever the...
I'm not exactly sure how it will look.
Okay.
I'm new to Blackboard Collaborate myself. I only just got access yesterday. So I'm trying to familiarize myself with the interface so that on Tuesday, I'll be better equipped to answer those kinds of questions.
Okay.
But suffice to say, there is video and you will see anybody that's sharing their video with you. Let me just see quickly if this has.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
You said that Zoom is open to full-time faculty. Is there something we have to do to sign up other than what we've already done to be here today? Or is there a different account that we would get?
Are you in the School of Education?
I'm not. I'm arts and art history.
So the School of Education is offering accounts to all School of Ed full-time faculty. The college has a limited number of accounts that you can request through your dean.
Oh, okay.
But it's a small number.
Jesus.
So, I don't know if there's any guarantee for that.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. What other questions do we have?
I hate to be a troublemaker, but under the circumstances, shouldn't it be available to everybody?
It would be nice, but these are not free accounts. There are free accounts. You can use Zoom for free if you want to, but there's a 40-minute time limit on those sessions.
Okay.
Now,
I heard
you can
that
get
right.
around that with creative pedagogical approaches. So for example, you could have a 40-minute discussion and then your session will end and you ask students to do something, to do an activity, and then come back in 15 minutes. You start up a new session, you have another 40 minutes.
Oh.
So there are creative ways of using the free accounts. Or you can just immediately start it back up. It's a little bit of a disruption if it happens in that way. If you build it into your pedagogical approach, then you can find very creative ways to make do. But Blackboard Collaborate, of course, you're not going to have that limitation. You can just continuously go for the entire class session if you choose to do that. You're not required to. So there's no requirement on behalf of CUNY or the college that your sessions need to be one-to-one in terms of face-to-face contact. You can have an equivalent amount of contact that's asynchronous. And that's what Gina's showing you with the discussion forums, with other creative assignments that you want to add on to what you're already doing. You can also record videos. So you can come into Blackboard Collaborate and record yourself and then just post that as a lecture.
Kenny, there was a question as to whether you can have a guest be on Blackboard Collaborate.
You can have a guest. So when we created the session, there was a guest link right here. So you can copy that guest link.
So I'm sorry if this is a silly question, but so copy that guest link and do what with it?
And then email it to your guest. So then they would just click that link and it would bring them right into the session.
Got it, thanks.
Once the session is open.
And then Kenny, there was another question about how to show a PowerPoint to students in a live session on Blackboard Collaborate.
Sure. So it's just like we're sharing a web window, I can share a PowerPoint window. So let me just open up something. So if I go to share content, share application window. So here I just opened up a PowerPoint and now I can share this PowerPoint with you. I can put it in presentation mode. It should take up your whole screen.
Hi everybody.
Oops, there's audio in this PowerPoint.
So
let me stop sharing that. There we go. Forgot that there's audio in that PowerPoint. But yes, you can share a PowerPoint by sharing an application.
And there was a question if students can present on Blackboard Collaborate and can students share their screen?
That's a good question. And I'm not sure of that. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think that probably that they can. But I would have to get back to you on that.
can I ask a question about
I only have
Blackboard?
one person in the class. I can't test that out.
Yep.
But Dara, I think Dara Myers, you have to unmute.
There was a
You got it, Dara.
Okay, thanks. I just want to know if I have 33 students in my class, can I have 33 students in all these little boxes, you know, appearing and disappearing?
Yeah.
Right, in the class?
Managing 33 students in a session like this is a bit of a challenge. Because you're not going to see all 33 students at once.
Right.
See, you know, 5 or 6 of them at once, depending on whether you're sharing content or not. If you're not sharing content, then you may have room for more video screens.
I see.
I saw you had asked that question in regards to Zoom, but I think it would, in either Zoom or Collaborate, it's sort of the same answer.
That was what my understanding was.
Yeah, Dara, I do a class of 40 on Zoom. And you'll find me like multitasking a lot. So there's a lot of students chatting and there's a lot of students who are like, I'll arrow to watch all the students and make sure everyone's participating. It's absolutely possible. You just have to be like a good multitasker. Yeah. So if you are, you're gonna be fine.
Gina, would you suggest the best way to manage that then is to use the participants window and do like the hand raising stuff, or what would you, for those of us who are going to be brand new to this? I also have like 25 students.
Yeah. So to do easy, I would use the participant window. I do a lot of hand raising. I do a lot of chat because I find it like easy to see the chat box on the side and I can just like ask questions, answer questions and things like that. So my students have this thing where they flow really well. They know I'm looking at all times. They know one of my ground rules is that everyone has to actively participate. So if they're on Zoom, they're actively participating, whether by chat or by voice or by raise hand. And they get points for active participation. And so I think that if you're actually going to do a large class on Zoom, it's really super important just to lay ground rules that you can actually handle and manage, especially in those first few weeks, right? So my ground rule is everyone participates in some way. You can participate via chat, you can participate via raise hand, you can participate via mic. I also personally have a rule that everyone has to be on video because it's so easy to tune out and just like you put it on, like you can be anywhere, right? If you don't have video. So I have a couple of ground rules, and if you use those ground rules, it turns out really well. It turns out.
Okay.
Just looking through some of the questions that you had here. Somebody asked, when is the Blackboard Collaborate session? On Tuesday. You can get the link to it from either Jennifer's email that she sent out, or those in the School of Ed. Hold on, I'm hearing myself. I need to pull up.
If you send me an email, oh, sorry, there's mics open. G. Riley. Riley.
All right, Amanda, you have to stay muted because we're hearing echoes. So in order to Jennifer's email that she just sent out last night, has the links to the Blackboard Collaborate session on Tuesday. It's also in, for those in the School of Ed, it was in the email that the dean sent out yesterday. And
sorry, who was the one sent out to from Jennifer?
It was sent out to the entire Hunter community.
Okay, great.
It was sent out like last night at 11 p.m. or something like that. You can also contact us at the Frankfort Center at soehelp@hunter.cuny.edu, and we can just interface directly, and we'll provide you with the link and the information. But it's on Tuesday at 2:30 p.m.
And then Dan asks how he can create a class. I assume it's on Blackboard. He said, specifically, when I teach a class, I find the class on my Blackboard with all the students listed. So I guess, is there a way to, and you tell me, Dan, if this is correct, is there a way to create a class without having it on Blackboard already? Is that your question?
Yes.
Okay.
So you would have to contact ISIT.
I figure. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question about attendance on Collaborate. So how would I know who actually attended? Would there be a list of everyone who participated at the end of it? Because I have 50 students in one of my classes. So how do I know how many of them actually were present or not? Because it's going to be hard to measure. Like, how do I know that?
Right. So there is this attendee panel when you're in there. And are you planning to record the sessions?
I don't think so. We'll see. I'm not sure yet.
I will have to get back to you on that because there's probably going to be a record if you come over here.
Because it's easier to manage if you have maybe 20 people, then maybe you can see who is actually part of it, but I have 50, so it's going to be impossible to be able to do it and then still navigate through everything that needs to be done, right?
Right. So it looks like there is a report that comes up after the session is complete. Let me end the session, see if that completes the report. Get out of here.
I have a question, and maybe it's redundant. I came a little bit late, and you were talking a little bit about Blackboard. I want students to post a response to an assignment. That was a graphic organizer that they had to work out.
Okay.
And I want to set it up so that they can read their responses and then respond to each other. I know that there's a way, I'm using a discussion board.
Yes.
Discussion board, but never this way. And I'm sure there's a way I can do that.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to send me 25 for one class and 20 from another as emails in an attachment, because I see what's going to happen. That's the way it'll wind up. All right. Okay. That's the situation. Can you?
So if you, sorry, can I show my screen, Kenny? Is that okay?
Yeah. Before you get there, I just wanted to follow up with that last question about.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it looks like there are reports. I don't know. It's not. Nothing came up. I'm gonna have to look into that. If you can contact me directly, either at SOE Help or you can contact my my direct email. It's kenny.hirschmann, or I'll type it in for you. I'll look into that and I'll get back to you on that.
Great, thank you.
Sorry about that.
No, thank you.
Okay, Gina, let me stop sharing.
Where do we go? Under here.
So in terms of discussion, you'll notice that students can easily reply to each other in their discussion boards. So if you create the board, they can absolutely reply to each other. So let me give you an example. And they'll just hit reply. So you have the main posting, students are responding. Your students are just going to hit reply and reply to that posting. They have the same reply button that we do as instructors. You have multiple.
Can I add a comment of my own?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. So you and your students can do that. That's what a whole discussion is. Yeah. So that's a not messy way to do that.
And you can go a second time around, having them react to their reactions.
You can go a sixth time around.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Because I want to put this in motion immediately, because I have students emailing me from what we left off last week. You know, I guess everybody's is faced with that situation. I'm getting an abundance of emails right now. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So I think once you find where you're going to land with this move to remote learning, I think just a mass email to your students. That's what I'm doing. Like, we'll be using this. You'll find this here. Just a mass structured email so your students can easily find everything.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. Any other questions? If you're really,
just to get students to Blackboard who maybe aren't using it, because I'm from the art department and we don't, we do things very differently typically. So I'm guessing they haven't interfaced with Blackboard that much. Do I send them this bbhosted.cuny.edu to get to Blackboard? That's the link they would use to get to it, and then they're going to have their logins that they use for CUNY First. They have CUNY First. Is that what they're? Sorry, I'm so not. We're so not technical when we work.
No, I don't. Listen, I'm calling things like buttons and tabs. I don't know the technical name, and I've been doing this for a while. But Kenny, so it's usually the student's My Hunter email, correct, that gets them onto Blackboard, that logs them on. So no, you tell me, Kenny.
It's CUNY First.
Oh, it is their CUNY First. Okay.
Okay, so it's their CUNY First is what they'll need to log on, and then that's the bbhost.cuny.edu. That link will just get them to the main page where they can get into it, and they'll be attached.
Access it from the CUNY First website.
Okay, and then what they'll see is they'll see a link to my class, like they have on their side like it will be obvious enough for them to get to. Okay.
As long as you've made your class available.
Oh,
so
okay.
if you haven't made your class available on Blackboard, then they won't see your class.
Okay, I might have missed that because I came in a little late. Is that
okay?
Being annoying by asking?
No, oh my gosh,
how to do that?
This is really what this is about. So, Kenny, if you can show, since you have your screen open, if you can show how to make a class available. Otherwise, I can open my screen and do it.
Oh, in Blackboard. So right now, my course is unavailable. It's been a while since I've done this.
I think it's properties or guest and observer access. There it is. Yep, there it is.
Wait, where are you? How did you?
So it's under course management.
Okay, hold on.
Yep.
1 second. Where? Course management. I see course tools.
Yeah, you're going down. Yep.
Go all the way down to customization.
Hold on. I see date management. Oh, course calendar, date management. So there's something called course management?
Yeah, so it's
sorry.
Are you looking at my screen?
Sorry, no, I'm looking at my screen. Let me look at your screen. Sorry.
So under the main navigation inside your course, this course management area, which is.
Oh, you're talking about sorry. I'm so deep in the menu. I didn't even see the course management at the top. Okay, sorry. Yes, course management, course tools. Got it.
Under customization.
Oh, custom. Okay. Sorry.
And in properties, you'll scroll down to set availability, and you'll make course available, and then hit submit.
Okay, and that's all that needs to happen, and then they will see it.
That publishes the course.
Okay, thank you.
Isn't there also an easier way by clicking on the right top corner somewhere there, if I remember correctly? Somewhere there, exactly. I think that's what I did at the beginning of the semester. I don't remember, but.
That's awesome. I've never done that, but that's awesome.
So now it's right there, right?
Yeah.
So that's edit mode. That's to turn edit mode on and off. That's not gonna. That's
no,
not
there was something else I think that I did. I did it differently. Okay, I'm sorry.
There may be a shortcut. I would have to find that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't remember, but I think I did it by clicking somewhere on the top there. It doesn't matter. I don't want to confuse people, so sorry for that.
Well, this is a way. There may be multiple ways, as there often are in these kinds of tools.
Yeah. So one of the other things I offer to students, which is sometimes helpful, and you can do this either on Blackboard Collaborate or if you have Zoom availability, is if you're thinking about office hours, which is something I'm always thinking about, you can do them on Blackboard Collaborate and or Zoom. And sometimes students show up and sometimes they don't. And sometimes I'm staring at a screen or a blank screen and sometimes I'm not. And sometimes there's a ton of students there. But you can utilize sync tools in order to hold office hours, if that's what you're looking at. And those are always fun.
Any other questions? One thing to understand also is that there is a lot of support here at Hunter for using Blackboard. If you're in the School of Ed, of course, the Frankfort Center is there to help you, but also there's Xiao's unit, the Center for Online Learning, and the ICET Help Desk. So if you need some support, reach out. It might take a while to get it, but it will come.
And I'm just offering informally, if you have simple Blackboard questions, I'm happy to answer them just informally, because I know everything is swamped and Kenny's been doing the most amazing job with these sessions and organizing everything.
Yeah, I just want to thank you both. This has been super helpful for me. I almost don't have any other questions because I don't even know what to ask. I mean, if there's any other obvious thing that we haven't talked about for conducting a live class, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Well, we have another session on Monday morning at 11, which is best practices for online learning. So we'll talk about some additional things to think about, some, maybe a little bit of a framework to think about how to approach your class. Gina and I are going to be leading that as well. So, after this, we'll probably have to talk about what that's going to be. And then on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday for School of Ed faculty, we have virtual drop-in hours as well. So there's a link in the dean's email to
Kenny.
that. So Monday it's 2 to 4 p.m. Tuesday is 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and Wednesday is 2 to 4 p.m. So
Can I ask a question for a second?
1 second, let me just finish. So if you start playing with this and you have questions, come to the virtual drop-in, or you can always come to 613 East, which is in the library, and speak with Dermot there. He can help you.
613 East. Sorry, I'm up in Harlem. I'm at the School of Social Work.
Oh, okay.
Where are you? Where is this?
That's for School of Education. Yeah. Sorry. Susie, I'm sorry. You had a question.
I apologize. You were clearly speaking. I'm sorry about that. I just wanted to say, I think, at least for me, 2 weeks from now was when I'm really going to have my questions, because, after I get the class going and I realize what I actually don't know, as opposed to now where it's all new. Will there be additional services like this again, perhaps in 2 to 3 weeks, or is that just too far ahead of where we are right now?
I'm sure that we'll probably have these things ongoing for the first few weeks as people are making this transition. We haven't had any concrete plans yet beyond Wednesday, but yeah, I would certainly count that we'll have, and we'll certainly be available, whether it's in a setting like this or just one-on-one. So definitely reach out as things come up, and we'll work with you to address them. And then if we have more opportunities to meet like this, we'll let everyone know. Including those of you at Silberman and Arts and Sciences and all the other schools. If we do more sessions like this, we'll certainly let the Provost's office know so that they can communicate that to you.
I guess this kind of already got, this question already came up a little bit, but I'm realizing that there just might be, seems like there's going to be a lot of reasons to have group discussions in different capacities now, where it might not always be the full class, or it might even be other faculty members, meetings, etc. Blackboard seems really great if you want to invite a whole class in to do this like class interfacing with this structured discussion time that's the class time. But especially because there's a lot of informal conversation, critique structures that happen, especially in the arts. And then I'm thinking also on the faculty level, seems like something like Zoom is easier, where you just invite a bunch of people in and they come, and it's not limited to what the capacities of the classroom or those who are anchored to Blackboard are. like, are there other tools? Because you're telling me I'm going to obviously try and get a Zoom account, but it's like if my other faculty members don't have Zoom, or like, I don't know, like, what is there other tools available to us that are for communicating in groups that all of the community has access to?
There's a few of them through Office 365. So there's Microsoft Teams, which is kind of like Slack. And it also has a built-in video conferencing tool. It does have sort of a classroom style interface available to it. And it's also free for all of our CUNY First logins. So you can access that through CUNY First as well.
So the students have that as well?
All the students and faculty and staff, everybody.
Okay, and that Google Classroom or Google Meetups, I tried to get on Google Classroom, and there was some sort of a pop-up window came up about getting permission through your school for having that kind of capacity, or what, I don't know. There's some rules around it.
Right.
So
education uses it, but not the other schools.
So this is something that would have to get implemented, which would take forever, probably. It's not going to happen, exactly. Okay, so we can use Google Meetup because it's sort of open and free, or is there some rules and limits about having conversations?
So you have
that
to speak with your dean to use anything that's not supported by CUNY or Hunter.
Okay. And so the only things that are supported is the Microsoft Team and Blackboard, basically, and Zoom if you can get access to it, but not everyone would have access to it.
So Zoom has been approved, I think, for arts and sciences by the dean. I'm not sure if that's true in other schools. We have Zoom as well at the School of Ed, but again, that's a school by school issue that the dean has to make those decisions about whether that applies to their school. So for example, with Google, the School of Education uses it because the dean, that's something that the dean approved a while ago. We use that because it's commonly used in the New York City School District. But if the Dean of Arts and Sciences has not approved using Google, you're not going to be using Google.
I do have one other question. I'm noticing now as you guys are talking, when AK is talking, I'm seeing her on my larger screen. And when Kenny's talking, I'm seeing him on my larger screen, which is actually really useful to see the person bigger who's commenting or whatever. Is that something we can, if we sort of virtually like call on a student in Collaborate, can we, how does that work so that the rest of the class is actually seeing them as opposed to me if they're talking or something like that?
Right, so this is Zoom, so it's working in the way that Zoom works. Collaborate, I'm not 100% sure. I haven't had the opportunity yet to go through all those features, but I will have those answers by Tuesday.
You're saying this is voice activated?
Thanks.
Is that
Yeah.
right? It is, I see.
And there's also a different view in Zoom, because if you go up to the upper right-hand side, you should see there's speaker view or gallery view. So if you're in speaker view, which is the view that you're describing, where you have the large person in the center and then smaller pictures of other people, you can switch to gallery view, which is more like a Brady Bunch view, where you see multiple.
Sorry, where is that?
Upper right-hand side. You should see a little icon on the top that says gallery view. Are you in full screen? Make sure it's not covered. Okay, you found it.
Got it.
Full screen. Okay.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's already 3:45, so if you're welcome to stick around if you have more questions, but otherwise, please feel free to leave whenever you need to. Paul, you look like you have a question.
Well, if I will play around with this, and I may get into trouble. I mean, it may not work. So if that should happen, I can get back to you about this, because you're really not going to know it unless you actually use it. I mean,
yes.
I in general, that's the case with all of this. So I want to try that Blackboard thing because I want to get that in motion immediately with the assignments. Because as I say, I have students, I'm getting inundated with emails right now about the assignment that they was due yesterday.
Right.
So, if that be the case, I know it's late in the day. We probably won't be speaking again probably till Monday at this point. But that would be, I could speak to somebody about that. Maybe even you, that would be preferable.
So I would suggest if you have an opportunity to play around with it this weekend, then do the virtual drop-in hours between 2 and 4 p.m. on Monday.
Okay.
And the link is in the dean's email.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And
All right.
I'm sorry, Kenny, what was the Monday at 11 o'clock that you said?
So that's best practices in online teaching, and that link is in Jennifer's email.
Okay, great, thanks.
And where do we virtually drop in?
So the virtual drop-in is the School of Education.
There's there a link that I would,
But
when you say the School of Education,
School of Education faculty.
Oh, it's only for them.
Yeah.
Shao is also doing a virtual drop-in through ACERT.
Actually, it's not a virtual drop-in. It's an actual drop-in.
Oh, it's an actual drop-in.
Okay.
Okay.
So you can check with ACERT about their schedule, but they're doing drop-ins all week, all until up through Wednesday in 1203 East.
Right, but they're in person.
Yes, but you can contact Shao. She might be able to do something virtually with you.
Right, okay.
Well, it was a good group.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Just have a happy weekend if you're logging off. If you're logging on, stay on. Or if you're staying on, stay on.
Yes.
Thank you so much. This was so informative. I'll see you Monday.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes.
See you Monday.
See you Monday. Happy weekend.
Happy weekend. Stay safe, everyone.
Yeah, stay healthy.
Yes.
Right.
That's
Take
the
care.
only thing that matters. That's what I tell students every day. Like, just stay healthy.
Stay healthy. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.